Factors which are undoubtedly important, but which can have far-reaching and unexpected consequences.
We wanted to adopt. We wanted to give a child that doesn't have a home. That's how we wanted to have our family. And it didn't matter to us that it was a baby or an older child, and it didn't matter to us that it was white or non-white.
Francesca and Rick are a successful, happily married couple with a lovely home. Francesca grew up with an adopted brother, so she knows more about adoption than most.
We were both absolutely committed and driven to make this happen. In fact, more so with a child in care who needed more of our help and support.
Perfect parents in the making, it would seem, but Francesca and Rick say their local authority wouldn't even let them apply to adopt. The reason? They were white.
We rang Ealing and we asked about domestic adoption. But we didn't say that we wanted necessarily a different race child. We just said that we wanted to adopt domestically. And Ealing's reply was that all the children available for adoption in that borough were mixed race or black or Asians.
So if they had said, OK, you can have a child from a different race to adopt, would you have been OK with that?
We said no problem, and they said, actually, it is a problem for us because we have put a cap, like most councils do, on the number of white couples that can adopt black children. And given that all the children available at the moment are black, you can't apply.
And what did you think about that?
It was very upsetting because I didn't quite get the logic of the reasoning, especially knowing that most of the children available for adoption are black or Asians, and most of the parents available are white, and I just couldn't quite comprehend how it worked and why a child who needed a home was denied that chance purely based on their colour and or our colour.
But it happens. 1 in 5 children waiting to be adopted is classified as minority ethnic, and for them the wait is 3 times as long as for white children. In fact, 20% never find new homes. There, they may not have been allowed to adopt domestically, but the local authority said they could do it in another country.
We were told that we couldn't adopt an Asian or black child, or a generally non-white child in this country, but in the same telephone conversation we were told that, however, we could consider international adoption. And a lot of the countries where couples or singles adopt from are countries where children are black. So we ended up then applying for initially Guatemala and subsequently Mexico, where children are not white.
And what do you think of the apparently ludicrous anomaly that is? The authorities are saying to you, you can't adopt, say, a Mexican child here. You can go tens of thousands of miles away, spend tens of thousands of pounds and do it abroad.
Yeah, exactly.
If you want to adopt abroad, your local authority in the UK still has to be involved, though, and it's a process that can be fraught with problems. Because of all the paperwork and legal and practical issues, it can take up to 4 years for the adoption to happen. So not surprisingly, 90% of applicants don't see it through. These two, though, did.
If we weren't sort of lucky enough to be able to take a sabbatical, multilingual, able to navigate bureaucracy in 2 different countries in 2 different languages, we would have just, and you know, able to spend the money and the time in Mexico, we just wouldn't have done it.
After 5 months of uncertainty, Francesca and Rick were finally matched with a baby girl, Gaia, who was just 1 month old and had been abandoned in a children's home.
So what was it like when you first met Gaia?
It was a real shock. I know this is going to sound really cliche, but it was the most beautiful moment of my life. It really was. Yeah. There was a feeling that she had found me, as opposed to the other way around.
Francesca and Rick returned to England with their Mexican daughter, having travelled 6,000 miles and spent £50,000 on what was, in the end, an interracial adoption.
Have they noted the irony of the situation? that...
No, no, they haven't. But again, I really think it's the whole system that needs revising. Much as, you know, Ealing, you know, said, whatever they said, it's what most councils would say to you. And it's the system overall that is too compartmentalised, it's too confusing.
Meanwhile, Gaia is now 2 and loving life in England, happily unaware, for now, of what her mum and dad had to go through to become her parents. Nevertheless, there are, without doubt, issues involved in interracial adoption, and so local authorities are certainly right to at least be them. She's writing a book about her experiences and has launched a campaign to make interracial adoption easier. Our interview with her was last week. What the Children's Minister said this week has given her quite a final chapter.
I'm really thrilled about the news this week, and obviously not just for us, but for all the children that would have otherwise remained in care. So it's really heartwarming. I'm really, really happy.